welcome back to the Abundant Harvest Homestead. I'm Papa Pepper, obviously a little different setting this time, but it's peaceful out here. And while I was enjoying myself, I thought I'd have a quick conversation with y'all, a word of warning. And really, if you are of the mindset that there are not people in control of things that do not have your best interest in mind, then I really can't help you. But if you understand that there are nefarious plots afoot, that there are people who do not want your freedom, there are people who don't want you to have control over your own life. They don't want you to be free to do as you see fit. They want to box you in. They want to kind of herd you like cattle, and they want to lay a heavy burden on your back, a financial burden, and they want to keep it there. That way they can keep you running on the hamster wheel, just chasing that carrot, making that money. And what I find these days is if you look at things, you're going to find that to have a conversation with almost anyone these days, you need to define like almost every word in the conversation. The very definition of words don't even mean what they used to. And the reason I bring that up first and foremost is a lot of times we categorize ourselves a certain way, and then if we have a category of people or a word that applies a certain way, we look at that as different from ourselves. But if that definition changes, then it can apply to us. If you even look at our Constitution is supposed to be the governing law of the land. But the Constitution itself is only acknowledging things that it says we have from our Creator. So ultimately there's things that God gives us, certain freedoms, that then the Constitution mentions as rights, and it appeals to them. And then there's all sorts of different ways people try to take away those freedoms. And one simple way would be like, oh, well, everyone's going to be free to do these things except for terrorists. And you're like, oh, well, yeah, I'm not a terrorist, so yeah, fine, we can bypass the law of the land when it applies to terrorists. We don't need to have due process with them. We don't need to have a right to a trial of their peers, different things. And then they change the definition, and now you're a terrorist, and, well, what do you do there? You just gave up all your rights by giving them a green light and something. As I look around this world, because I travel a bit, there's a lot of places that are very different from what they once were. And a lot of places where somebody used to be able to, I'm on a small lake here. People could dig their own. A lot of places before, still some places now. But then some places you're not even free to do that anymore. You can't make a hole in the ground to catch water. There's places where you can't catch water falling out of the sky. That's illegal. Rainwater harvesting, just illegal. And these things keep changing. And what I think is going to happen is they're going to box us in with legislation. They're going to make a bunch of rules, and because people are by and large ignorant and they don't understand things like, even jury nullification. If I was a juror on a case, I'm not simply there to judge the case. I'm there to judge the law. If it's not a good law, and I know somebody is guilty of breaking it, as a juror, I have the freedom to say not guilty, and I can nullify that bad law. Supposed to be a jury of peers, people who actually knew the person who committed the crime, and then they could give insight, into people's lives, and also protect themselves and each other from bad laws. They want to dumb us down. They don't want us to know and understand any of that. And what I think is going to happen is we're going to continue to see this encroachment of laws. Even if you look at zoning laws and different rules and regulations and what you can and can't do with your property and other things, that's one way where they take the freedom out of your hands. And they make you kind of beg them for permission for everything. You need a permit, you need a license, and that's like, oh, well, just the people trying to illegally do this, we're gonna weed them out, and all the people who want to do it on the up and up, they'll just get a license. Well, needing a license or a permit is no guarantee that they're going to issue one to you either. You know, you could say, oh yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, we'll just get a permit then. Yeah, we can pass that law. And they'd be like, okay, I'm here to apply for my permit. And they're like, yeah, we're not going to give you one. Well, what? You know, this is a bait and switch. You told me something that you lied to me with. If you look at, guys, seriously, politicians, it's a bunch of lies. And people sit there and somehow justify themselves of, you know, voting for the lesser of two evils. If you vote for the lesser of two evils, you're supporting evil. You're encouraging evil. You're encouraging things to be more evil. It's way too evil down here already. So what I'd recommend, guys, take things into your hands right now. Set up things where you can have water. Without water, there's no life. Set up things where you can have food. Set up things where you have as much as you can these days, because you still got to pay property tax and rent whatever you own from the government. You know, if you go make some money, they'll tax you on making the money. If you go spend the money, they'll tax you on the money again. And then if you buy something with the money, then they'll tax you for owning it. And if you try to, you know, hand it off to your kids or something, then they'll tax you for, you know, leaving it as an inheritance to your children. It's a messed up system. I really just want to opt out as much as I can, because I just simply want to be free. I don't believe in all that stuff. I don't believe in the bureaucracy. I don't believe in the politicians. If you ask me to choose between a donkey and an elephant, are you kidding me? You know, I've got the lion and the lamb that I can support and I can live my life for. I'm not going to put my faith or hope in anyone down here, especially if I look at their track record. They're not credible witnesses. They don't have our best interests in mind. They support agendas and people who are behind them. You know, you never see the puppet master, you just see the little puppet. And that's what a lot of these people are. I don't want to be a puppet. I don't want to play their games. I don't want to support various candidates. I don't want to wear NASA shirts as fashion and just all sorts of stuff going out there in the world these days. It's messed up. But I would recommend in your own areas, watch the stuff that they're putting on the table. I think they're going to try to outlaw and ban a bunch of agriculture. I think they're coming for your plants. I think they're coming for your seeds. I think they're coming for your gardens. I think they're coming for your animals probably first. First will be your chickens and your cows and your sheep and your, you know, goats. I think that's where it's going to start. But I don't think they're ever going to stop. They don't want you to be a producer. They want you to be a consumer. They don't want you to have control over your food safety. They want to control that. Your food security. They want to be the one, because they want you to have to pay for it. And if they decide they don't like you anymore, then they don't want to give it to you. They don't want you to have that freedom. That's the way I see this world happening right now. That's the stuff I see coming down the pipeline. And there's some very wealthy people who own a large percentage of even just the farmland in America. There's a lot of other countries who own a lot of the farmland in America. You need your own farmland. You don't need much. You just need stewardship of a plot of property. It doesn't need to be aggressively monocropped where you only grow one thing. It doesn't need to be completely saturated with killers for the weeds and the bugs, and then replenished with organic, you know, fertilizers, and this terrible balance that if ever you can't get your hands on one piece of the puzzle, everything fails. It doesn't all need to be contaminated with genetically modified organisms. It doesn't. You need to take it into your own hands. But watch. I think there's going to be some stuff coming where they're going to start making legislation, and it'll probably be for your own protection is what they'll tell you. Oh, we can't let these people do what they're doing, and it's going to fall into the food manufacturing. And then what they're going to say is, oh yeah, we need these rules, we need these rules, we need these rules. And then they're going to change some definitions and be like, well, wait, isn't that what you're doing? And you're going to be like, whoa, I'm doing something completely different than them. No, the law says this. It has these words in it. We've redefined all these words. Now you're breaking the law. You can't plant that plant. You can't save that seed. You can't have that animal. Now's the time, guys. Exercise your freedoms. I don't want to say rights, because it's not wrong if you don't. I think that's part of the agenda with just even calling things rights. Oh, I have the right to do this. That then people think it's somehow wrong if you don't. There's plenty of things I have the right to do that are not wrong for me not to do. I have a lot of freedom. I want to exercise my freedom wisely. I'd like you guys to do the same. I'd like you guys to see what you can do to set yourself up for success in the future. You know, just the other year, you couldn't go in and buy a seed at some of the stores that was non-essential. You couldn't go in and buy a packet of, let's say, kale. I planted kale once at the end of a winter, and it sprouted at the end of that winter, and it was there for the spring and the summer and the fall and the winter and the spring and the summer into the fall. It finally fizzled out. It was there for like 7 or 8 seasons, you know, winter, spring, summer, fall. And then it gave me thousands, tens of thousands of seeds that then I was able to grow and grow and grow. Somehow it was completely permissible for people to go every week or every day and go buy some more kale, but to go buy kale seeds and never need to buy kale again, that was illegal. That was non-essential. You guys watch this, you know, even that. Oh, well, non-essential workers don't need to go. Okay, yeah, let's make that a rule. And then they just say, you know what, now you're non-essential. Now you cannot go. You watch the rules, you keep an eye on your politicians, you do what you can. They're pushing hard at us, guys, just regular folks who don't want to live an insane life, just want to live a quiet, peaceful life in contact with the real world. Sky, trees, soil, plants, animals. You know, I like to say when the world was perfect, it was a man and his wife in a garden with some animals. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. But there's people who don't like you having that freedom. Educate yourself now. Get the skill sets you need. Learn how to work hard. Get in better shape. Learn your wild edibles. Learn how to hunt, fish, harvest animals. How to reproduce animals. How to successfully print your own chickens or your own sheep every year. How to successfully do these things. Exercise those freedoms and be careful. Watch their words, watch their rules, the little agendas they put on the ballots. Don't fall for that stuff. I wouldn't trust these people, guys. I can't. They've shown me for too long that the politicians, those who claim to have your best interests in favor, there's people, lobbyists, the companies behind the lobbyists who put a lot more of what they care for in their life than the common man ever will. You wouldn't have people earning these astronomical amounts and yet having tiny salaries. How do you get to be a multimillionaire on some of the wages of some of these senators or other things? Think about it, guys. It's not what it's about. It's about big business. It's about the people behind the scenes. It's about making an insane amount of cash. If I work a job and I get paid exactly what I agreed to, that's fair. If I work a job that says they're going to pay me this much and all of a sudden in a very short amount of time I've accumulated a whole insane amount of wealth that I could never legally do, even if I live for 300 years at the wage I'm being paid, something else is going on, folks. Honestly, I'd highly recommend not trusting the politicians. Do what you can. Watch your freedom. Protect your freedom, guys. Exercise your freedoms. Don't fall for their agendas. And define words. Stick to the original meanings when you're possible. You know, if somebody's coming at you, ask them to define what in the world they're talking about. And then let's hold them accountable to those definitions. I don't need a new definition of every word every couple of years. It's Babylon. It's confusion. It's making it all messed up where none of it makes sense anymore. I don't want to be confused. I want my head to be on my shoulder, straight, and be able to see things accurately. I got a couple other things to do. Thank you all for hanging out. I'll see you next time. Pop out.
Thank you for watching. Hit the red button. Thumbs up. But well.
The cow head is good?
Yeah.
That's because you know.